She pressed the hot iron against my shoulder. I screamed.
She didn't stop.
And Mom? She stood at the doorway and laughed. Trash deserves to be burned, she said, sipping her tea like nothing had happened. Dad walked in, saw the blister forming, and huffed. If I were her, I would have burned your face too. That's silence after cruelty. That kind of silence doesn't heal, it spreads like infection.
Hi.
My name is Willa Monroe. And if you think you know how this ends, stay tuned. Because some stories aren't about pain. They're about fire. And how you learn to burn back without ever striking a match. What happens when the ones meant to love you become the blueprint for your destruction? I was 17. They said I deserved it. Because I didn't fold my sister's clothes. Because I spoke back. Because I dared to want anything at all. So I stood there, raw skin blistering, and listened as they joked about how lucky I was she didn't grab the stove. I didn't fight, didn't run, didn't report. I just went to my room, locked the door, and stared at the wall for hours. But something inside me cracked. Not like glass. Like ground during an earthquake. From that day forward, I stopped asking to be loved. And started planning how to make them remember me. Not with revenge. Not with rage. But with silence so loud it would echo through their lives like a warning siren. Because when someone burns you, you don't heal just to forgive. You heal so you can walk past them like they never existed, while they beg to matter again. I wore long sleeves for weeks, even in summer. The burn wrapped around my shoulder like a secret I never volunteered. But people noticed. The way I flinched when someone reached too fast. The way I never hugged anyone with my left side. At school, I smiled. At home, I disappeared. My sister? She got rewarded. Mom gave her my phone. Dad gave her my silence. And when our pastor visited one Sunday, I remember how she sweetly said, "Willa's been a bit rebellious lately, but we're working on it." Rebellious. As if rebellion was saying no to being someone else's punching bag. I stopped eating dinner with them. Stopped responding in the family group chat. Just listened. Listened as they made plans for my sister's graduation trip. Listened as they used the savings account with my name on it. Listened as they played family without me. That's when I started saving. Every penny from tutoring. Every hour from the campus library job they didn't know I had. Every gift I was supposed to hand over, I kept. And quietly I started building a wall. One scholarship. One fake smile. One signed lease at a place they couldn't find. I didn't scream. Didn't threaten.
Didn't say goodbye.
I just left. Left behind the mattress where I used to cry. The bathroom mirror that never showed kindness. And the photo frames with me cut out. But I left something else too. A journal. Tucked under my old bed. Detailed. Precise. Page after page of everything. What they said. What they did. How often.
Names. Times.
Even receipts. Because when people think they own you, they never imagine you might keep the proof. Especially when your silence was never weakness. It was strategy. And they hadn't even begun to unravel. The first time they realized I was gone, they didn't call. They sent a message to my college roommate. "Tell Willa her sister's birthday is Saturday. Don't make a scene." A scene? They were worried about appearances. As always, I didn't reply. Instead, I made a donation anonymously to a domestic abuse shelter in my sister's name, with a note for the ones who heal instead of hurt. 2 days later, the shelter posted publicly, tagging her social media. The comments flooded in. "Wow, didn't know you supported survivors. So proud of you for using your platform." She was livid. Called me from a blocked number, yelling, "You think this is funny? Making people think I care about that crap?" I didn't speak. I just let her rage bounce off the silence. Then I hung up. That night, I opened my laptop, pulled up the journal scans I had secretly backed up, and uploaded them to a private drive. Password protected. Scheduled. Set to release automatically to every family member, school counselor, church leader. If anything ever happened to me, because people like them, don't go down with confrontation. They crumble under exposure. And I was done letting them write my story in bruises. My landlord handed me a letter that week. Certified mail. From my parents' lawyer. Apparently, they wanted access to my college fund. Claimed it was family property. That I owed it to them, since they raised me. I laughed. Raised me? If trauma was currency, they'd be billionaires. I replied, through my attorney. 3 words, see you there. Let them come. Let them explain in court how they used my money to buy dresses and dinners for the sister who seared my skin. Let them stand under oath and answer how a 17-year-old paid rent while they vacationed in Aruba. I wasn't scared anymore. I wasn't a child hoping for softness. I was the storm, and their house of cruelty? It was built on sand. They came to court in matching blazers. My mother smiled at the judge like she was greeting a neighbor. My father sat upright, hands folded, like a proud veteran of parenting. They didn't recognize the girl across from them. Hair pulled back.
Documents in hand.
Eyes that no longer begged for anything. Their lawyer opened with fake warmth. Your Honor, this is a family matter. Emotional misunderstandings. Miscommunications. I passed a folder to my attorney. He slid it across the bench. It thudded lightly on the wood. Inside? Photos. Medical records. A report from the school nurse. Burn patterns. The judge's smile vanished. Then came the voice recordings. My stepmom's laughter after the iron hissed. My dad's voice calling me dead weight. It was like peeling away their masks. With surgical precision. They tried to interrupt. My sister cried in the back row. Not for me, but for herself. What happens to me now? She whispered to my mother. And that's when I turned. Looked right at them. No anger. No performance. I used to think I wasn't enough. Now I know you feared I might become more than all of you combined. The courtroom fell still. Even the clock seemed to hesitate. The judge leaned forward, voice low and deliberate. This is no longer a custody dispute over college funds. This is a case of documented abuse, financial exploitation, and emotional cruelty. Mississippi Lane, do you wish to press charges? I took a breath and smiled, the first real one in years.
Yes.
I do. Because healing doesn't always mean forgiving. Sometimes it means holding people accountable. With receipts, records, and steel in your spine. I walked out of that courtroom, not just free, but rewritten. No longer the burned girl in the corner. I was the one who lit the match. And walked away, while their lies turned to ash. News spreads fast in small towns. But nothing moves faster than shame denied. By sunset, they were already spinning it. My aunt posted, "Family is sacred. Some wounds should be handled privately, not paraded in court." I didn't reply. Instead, I took a walk. No headphones. No distractions. Just me, breathing in the kind of silence they always filled with guilt. The next day, I got a call. Blocked number. A man's voice. "You think you're better than us now?" I hung up. 2 minutes later, another call. My cousin. Whispering. "They're planning something, Willa. A public statement. They want to smear you. Say you're unstable." I didn't flinch. Instead, I logged into the backup drive. Remembered every insult. Every night I bled through my sleeve. Every time I was told I was too sensitive. Too selfish. And then I uploaded one more thing. An old video. Grainy. Phone shaking. My sister filming herself, laughing. While I lay on the floor, crying, a welt across my back. She had posted it years ago. Captioned, "When trash tries to fight back faced with tears of joy." I kept the original. Now it was public. No edits. No filters. No excuses. The internet didn't take kindly to that version of royalty. Her job called it disturbing. Her university called it grounds for disciplinary review. Suddenly, my phone was buzzing nonstop. Family group chat on fire. Threats masked as concern. "Willa, this could ruin her life. You don't want that on your conscience." I sent one reply. "Neither did you. But here we are." Because When you spend your whole life surviving people who rewrite history, you learn to carry the receipts. And I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was curating their downfall, frame by frame. The first time they showed up at my door, they didn't knock. Just stood there. My stepmother in designer sunglasses. My father with that tired, performative sigh. "We just want to talk," he said. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. The porch felt colder than it should have. She spoke first. "This little drama of yours has gone too far." My jaw tightened. Dad added, "You've embarrassed the family. You've made your sister unsafe. She's had to delete her socials. You know what that does to a girl." I looked him in the eye.
Slow. Calm.
"You taught me that actions have consequences. I'm just making sure yours finally do." Stepmom leaned in, voice syrupy. "Be reasonable, Willa. Take down the posts. Drop the charges. We can discuss compensation."
Ah.
There it was. The bribe wrapped in a motherly tone. I smiled. "Sure," I said. "Let's go inside." They relaxed, until I added, "Right after you sign this." I pulled out a small manila envelope. Inside, an affidavit, a public apology draft, and a notarized agreement relinquishing all rights to my trust fund and property. Stepmom hissed, "You ungrateful little snake." Dad stepped back unsure. I tilted my head. "My therapist says snakes are sacred in some cultures. Shed their skin. Start again." She tore the envelope in half. I didn't flinch. "Okay," I said. "Then I'll just add this footage to the case file." I pointed to the doorbell camera, the one blinking red since they arrived. Dad paled. Stepmom turned to leave, muttering curses.
Me?
I stayed on the porch a little longer. Let the sun warm my arms. Let the silence hold me. Because I wasn't the girl who needed their approval anymore. I was the woman rewriting the bloodline story. No longer begging for a seat at the table. I was building my own. And they weren't invited. By the end of the week, everything shifted. My sister's scholarship? Revoked. The university cited evidence of violent misconduct. Stepmom's social circle? Gone quiet. The charity she co-chaired dropped her name from the website. Dad's real estate license? Under investigation. Apparently, assaulting a minor, even years ago, leaves a trail that licensing boards don't like. I didn't celebrate. I just watched it unfold like rain after drought. Expected. Necessary. They called again. This time, my stepmom cried. "We didn't mean to hurt you. We were just overwhelmed." I stayed quiet. Then she said it, the line I'd waited my whole life to hear. "You were right." But she followed it up with, "And you've made your point, Willa. Now stop.
Please.
Be the bigger person." There it was, the old trick. Use maturity as a leash. Guilt as a muzzle. I didn't take the bait. Instead, I sent a message to every major news outlet that had reached out. Told them the story was theirs. With evidence, interviews, court filings. One outlet ran a feature the next day. She was burned with an iron at 15. Now she owns the family that tried to erase her. The comments section exploded. Women from everywhere shared their own stories. Some said, "Same." Others said, "I needed this." But one comment stood out. Her silence didn't save them. Her voice destroyed them. That night, I sat by my window, candle lit, journal open. And for the first time, I didn't write about pain. I wrote about power, about rebuilding, about legacy. Because I wasn't a victim anymore. I wasn't their scapegoat. I was the story now. And the story was just about to reach its final page. The day their house went up for auction, I didn't go to watch. I didn't need to. I'd already seen enough of their destruction. I just wanted peace. But peace wasn't quiet. It was loud, in the messages I kept getting from strangers who said, "You gave me courage to walk away too." That was the real win. 2 weeks later, a letter came. From Dad. Handwritten.
Shaky.
"We lost everything. Your sister's angry. Your mother's broken. But I see now. We were the ones who burned you. Over and over. And you carried the scars while we carried pride.
I'm sorry.
I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know, I'm proud of you. For surviving us. I folded it, put it in a box with old photos. Because forgiveness isn't a gift you hand out. It's a decision to stop carrying the fire. That weekend, I stood on stage at a local women's conference. Not as Willa, the burned girl, but as Willa Monroe, writer, speaker, advocate. I share my story. Not the gore. Not the details. Just the truth. They told me I was trash, but I turned ashes into a blueprint. Sometimes you don't rebuild the bridge. You build your own city. The room stood and clapped. Some cried. Some whispered, "Thank you." Later that night, I looked at my reflection. The scar on my shoulder's still there, but softer now. A reminder, not a wound. Because I didn't ruin their lives. They ruined their own. I just stopped letting their fire spread. And as I turned off the lights in my apartment, I whispered to the quiet, "I am free."